Hello everyone, thank you for viewing this short video. I'm doing this a little bit different because I want to make sure you get to see what is on the screen here. We had a very interesting Bible study this past Sunday at the Men's Bible Study, and it brought out a great point, and it led me to making this video here. I entitled this The Moment of Salvation. What I want to look at is when we become saved, that very moment of salvation. I just want to give a very basic understanding of what happens and then how we proceed from that. This can be a very deep subject, but I really don't want to go that deep into it right now. I really just want to kind of stay on the surface and just give a basic understanding using a few scriptures. First I want to start in John chapter 3 verse 6. It says, that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I say unto thee, ye must be born again. So this is salvation. Many people think of becoming a Christian as like joining a club or getting a membership to something. That is not the case. Jesus talks about it here, and he uses some of the other scriptures as well around this one to go in a little more detail. It's described as if a natural birth. He relates it to that. So it's a new birth process. Let's look a little deeper in that. Go to Romans chapter 8 verse 5. It says, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. This is that new birth. People many times don't understand what it means to be born again. What it means is to become spiritually minded. See, when we first are born into this world, we're only carnally minded. We're fleshly minded. We mind the things of the flesh. We try to fulfill the needs of the flesh. Eat, sleep, those type of things. The things we need in this world are the things we try to fulfill. When you become born again, you become minded of the things of the Spirit, which means you start looking of ways to fulfill the Spirit. Let's look a little deeper into this. Romans, that same chapter, verse 8. Let's go back to verse 1. It says, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus has made me free from the law of sin and death. Looking at verse 2 here, we see a couple of equations that I believe can help us with salvation and what actually happens that very moment that we become saved. First, let's look at the word law plus Spirit equals life. This is our first equation found there in the very first part of verse 2. That law plus the Spirit equals life. When you become born again, you gain that Spirit. It says in Christ Jesus. So when you become saved, that's what you become part of, that new law. It's a higher calling. And what it's done is it set you free from this. The law that plus sin equals death. See, that second law that we were born into when we were born into this world, it causes us to sin, which equals death. The born again experience puts us under a new law, gives us the Spirit within us, and that equals life. Very important here, it says Galatians 5:13, for brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty as an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another. So when you're born again, you're literally become aware. You gain an awareness of that spirit man within you, and just as when you were first born into this world, you try to meet the needs of the flesh. When you become born again, you start trying to meet the needs of the Spirit at that point, that spirit man inside of you, and it sets you free from that law that was over your flesh. But it says here, don't use that freedom as just an excuse to just go and sin and do anything you want, but use that rather to love on your others, on your brothers. Settle in your heart salvation and what it is, and then that liberty that that you're no more under that condemnation, use that liberty now to fulfill the needs of others, to live your life fulfilling the needs of others. Galatians 4:1 here tells us about the walk after we're saved. You have that initial moment, as we just talked about, but then afterwards, as we live through life, we have this. It says, Galatians 4:1, "Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differed nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all, but is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father." What this is talking about is this is the process after you're saved now. Now that you're saved, you have a process of where you're becoming more Christ-like. The way I like to talk about it is at the moment of salvation, you become justified. That's your justification. Just as we laid out with those equations, you're under a new law. You're set free from that old condemning law. Now you're under a new law that you gain freedom in. But after justification becomes the sanctification process, which is talked about there in Galatians 4:1, where we are under tutors and governors. This is a learning time. This is where you're spending your life. And during that, you can do this, Galatians 5:13 that we talked about. During your learning time, you're no longer concerned about your salvation and feeling condemned about the things you do. You're feeling conviction now, which conviction invokes change in you, and it allows you to live a life where you're focused on others and not on yourself. Again, this is just very basic. I hope this gives a little bit of an understanding. I would encourage anyone who can to come to that men's Bible study. It's being led by two great men, Eric Taylor and Matt Sharp. They're doing a great job. They've developed an environment that allows men to come together and talk about things like this and other things that men will encounter in life, and we can talk and express opinions and express ideas and gain understanding from it. So thank you for taking the time to view this. I hope you have a blessed day.